Alright, so today we're going to be working on our single leg squat. Now this is a great movement to help us build both strength and mobility, and there's a couple of progressions or variations that we're going to go through to help you better master this movement. Now starting out, if you have never done any single-legged squats before, we're probably not going to start you out with body weight. Instead, we're going to grab a bench, a chair, or something for you to be seated on and do a variation which is pretty much a single-legged leg press where you're going to push yourself in a squatted or seated position off of the bench. So in this seated position, we're going to keep the same mechanics of a squat here. Feet are going to be about shoulders width apart. Of course, our emphasis here is going to be on the one foot and one leg that is going to be pushing you up. However, the mechanics stay the same. We're pushing through the heels here and straight up and straight up. Straight up. So with this movement, the push starts out in our quads right here. You can feel a little shift of the engagement from the quads onto the hamstrings and towards the glutes to help straighten out our hips towards the end of the movement. And one more time. Now, when you're doing a single-legged squat from bench, the other leg, depending how comfortable you feel with balance, can be either on the floor or lifted up off of the floor. Now, if you place your foot on the floor, we're not going to use it to help you push on the way up. We're going to focus the push on that one leg at a time. Now, if it's up, make sure we keep our balance nice and engaged in the core to help out with that as well. So that is our first single-legged squat variation. From the bench, pressing upwards. Now, the biggest challenge that we're going to run into, well, the two biggest challenges that we're going to run into when progressing from a single-legged squat from bench over to a full single-legged squat is going to be strength and balance / stability as well there. So in order to help us improve our strength and stability without getting off the bench just yet, we're going to grab onto a weight here. Hands on two sides, firm grip up to the chest, and we're going to go through the same movement. So that is our weighted single-legged squat from a seated position. Now, once we feel comfortable enough with our balance, our stability, and our strength, and we're ready to move on towards a single-legged squat without the help of a bench, we're going to have to really pay attention to controlling our body weight on the way down. Especially with only one leg firing off, it makes it very easy for us to drop down and kind of just fall if we're not controlling our body weight there. So we're going to get into a squat position. You're going to lift one foot off of the floor, and it helps to keep it straight. Straight out in front, come down, and press. Come down, and press. I personally like to keep my hands in front of me to help me balance a little bit, and the biggest thing, or the biggest point that I want you to focus on in this movement is as you come down, we want to really focus on pausing the movement in the bottom. Pause before we go back up. Now, there's no need to stop there. However, the goal is to stop the momentum that's coming down before we give it that power and start pushing the opposite direction. This goes for pretty much every movement out there. However, when you have force pushing downwards and then you start pushing up at the same time, it causes a lot of wiggling around the joints that we want to try and avoid, especially in anything that's loaded with weights. So a couple more rounds of the single-legged squat without the bench. Now, it's super important in this movement to make sure that we're pressing through our heel. The knee can take a lot of strain from this movement if we start shifting that weight up onto our toes. So again, same mechanics as the squat here, although it does tax us a lot more in terms of stability and strength, which makes it a great exercise for us to learn and develop. So thanks for watching.